4 days. We are just 4 days away from crowning a new World Heavyweight Champion. The question is, who is it going to be? Is it going to be the cocky, the arrogant Alberto Del Rio, or is it going to be Captain Charisma, the best friend of the former World Champion Edge, Christian? One thing's for sure is we will see a new World Champion at Extreme Rules when these two gladiators face each other in a ladder match. The question is, who is it going to be? But first, welcome to John's Wrestling Views. I am your host, John. Thanks for tuning in. The biggest thing that's happened this last week, we got Extreme Rules this Sunday, 4 days away, as I mentioned before, where a lot's going to be determined. But what always shapes a complexion of Extreme Rules, at least what it did this year and what's done before with pay-per-views just right afterwards, was a WWE Draft, which we witnessed this last Monday on Raw. So much happening. Starts to show off. John Cena gets drafted to SmackDown. And that's when I'm starting to think, okay, either he's not going to win the WWE Championship at Extreme Rules, or somebody is either Christian or Del Rio gets drafted to Raw, then he will win the WWE Championship, and then whoever gets drafted to Raw is going to win the World Championship, and so world titles will switch shows again. Del Rio ends up getting drafted to Raw, and I was like, oh, great, I really don't want to see this guy as champion. But then in a shocking conclusion, John Cena gets drafted back to Raw. So only on SmackDown for a night, but John Cena's on Raw, along with his two steel cage opponents for this Sunday's Extreme Rules, John Morrison and The Miz, and along with Alberto Del Rio. So you ask me, who's gonna win the World Championships at Extreme Rules? I think it's fairly simple that Christian will indeed become the new World Champion, and he's deserved it. The guy's been around for years. Granted, Vince McMahon, last I knew, he doesn't really care for Christian, but you can't ignore, A, how great of an athlete Christian is, his mic skills, and how much dedication he's given to the business. The guy has been there just as long as Edge has, and Edge has won 11 World Championships. Where's Christian been in all this? Oh, former ECW champion. Well, many eyes, that's not good enough. That's not really a world title. I mean, where's the ECW title nowadays? The ECW brand doesn't exist anymore. I'll be surprised if Del Rio wins the title at Extreme Rules now, considering that Christian is the only person from all 5 men in World Championship matches who's on SmackDown. However, if Del Rio does win, it's obvious he's going to lose it soon. To a SmackDown competitor, there's going to be some sort of loophole, preferably Christian. Say it just makes most sense if they give Christian a title. But, that's the easy way. WWE doesn't always live by the easy way, so let's see what happens. As far as the steel cage is concerned, we got John Morrison, great up-and-coming superstar, really deserves a championship run, but he's in a rivalry with R-Truth, who doesn't even have a match at Extreme Rules. Miz has held the title since November. Somehow has gotten past every challenge he has. It could be time for a new title run, but the other person, John Cena. John Cena is facing The Rock at WrestleMania 28. And the one thing John Cena wants is John Cena and The Rock at WrestleMania to be for the WWE Championship, to make it the biggest WrestleMania match of all time, or the biggest match of all time in general. Like I've said before, I really don't see them having John Cena hold on to the title for next to a year. I hate to say it, my money's on The Miz in this one. If not, John Morrison maybe, but there's going to be a solid John Morrison R-Truth rivalry for a while, so it makes sense not to have it for a championship with the two of them. Miz will find somebody else to lose it to eventually, but I see him holding on to the title past Extreme Rules. But that's me personally, maybe I'm wrong. That's the two big things right now. The draft, like I said, Monday night, there was a supplemental draft yesterday on WWE.com. Altogether, there's a total of 30 picks for altogether. 30 different people moving shows. Interesting things. A great colleague got drafted to SmackDown. Ranjan Singh still on Raw. Alberto Del Rio gets drafted to Raw. But both Ricardo Rodriguez and Brodus Clay still SmackDown. Would say superstars, but Ricardo Rodriguez, he's a personality on SmackDown, I guess. That's a big one right there. Drew McIntyre gets drafted to Raw. Jack Swagger gets drafted to Raw so he can be with his buddy Michael Cole longer. One thing I found interesting, though, Wade Barrett still on SmackDown. But Sheamus also on SmackDown. So we got the Intercontinental Champion and the U.S. Champion on the same show. Kofi Kingston got drafted to Raw. My guess is Wade Barrett's going to defend the Intercontinental title this Sunday at Extreme Rules against a Raw competitor, probably Kofi Kingston. It would be even nice to see him face like Santino Marella. But, Kofi Kingston's his main rival right now. But expect to see a new Intercontinental Champion come Extreme Rules. Or maybe a new U.S. Champion. I don't really see it because, Sheamus, his big rivalries right now is with Daniel Bryan, also drafted to SmackDown. Sin Cara, also drafted to SmackDown. And then, Mark Henry was for a little bit, but, Mark Henry drafted to SmackDown as well. Turns on Christian and John Cena in the main event of Raw when it was a 6-man tag between Team Raw and Team SmackDown for that final draft pick, which sent John Cena back over to Monday nights. So I'm guessing, going back to what I was talking about earlier, Christian, new world champion at Extreme Rules. Who's next in line? I'm guessing they're trying to pull off a solid Mark Henry-Christian rivalry. And it makes sense. Have Mark Henry fight for the title every once in a while. He's a big man, and he's another dedicated one. He's been there a while. He's paid his dues. Why don't we not necessarily give him a world title run, but have his name known more? Let's put him in the world title picture. Like I said, he's deserved it. Another interesting one. Big Show, drafted to Raw. Kane remains on SmackDown. New tag team champions. The good thing about this, though, is the tag team champions are allowed to go to both shows. So they're kind of an interpromotional tag team, but they can be a tag team on either show. So I'm not really expecting to see a long tag title run. But as Booker T said on Friday when they won the titles against the Core, who can stop them? Just some things to think about. Draft over some pretty solid results in my opinion. With the draft, though, also end of rivalries, and then of course the beginning of fresh new ones, as we'll probably see them start to escalate come Friday on SmackDown. Cody Rhodes, Rey Mysterio, Falls Count Anywhere match this Sunday at Extreme Rules. Definitely the end of a rivalry here, as Rhodes remains on SmackDown after the draft, as opposed to Rey Mysterio going over to Monday nights. Honestly, got my money on Rey Mysterio here. Rhodes has been the dominant figure in their rivalry thus far, so it makes sense to end the rivalry with new results. Falls Count Anywhere should be a pretty outstanding match. Both competitors great athletes, and it's going to get to be a wild one, I'm sure. My money is on Mysterio in this one. Another end of a rivalry. CM Punk takes on Randy Orton in a last man standing match come Sunday at Extreme Rules. Randy Orton, new member of Friday Night SmackDown. People like Trent Guerin do not care for that result, as he let me know personally via text messaging, but it is what it is. CM Punk remains on Monday nights. Sorry Trent and anyone else who is a big Orton fan. My money is on CM Punk in this one. Not just because I like him, but Orton won at WrestleMania. Orton's been dominating their rivalry since WrestleMania. CM Punk has a nexus. Last man standing match, that means no disqualification, as most of the matches at Extreme Rules are. Maybe nexus involvement, I don't know. Maybe even one thing to think about, Randy Orton, drafted to SmackDown, as I said. Ted DiBiase, as a result of the supplemental draft, also drafted to SmackDown. Cody Rhodes remains on SmackDown. He might want to seek some revenge for losing to Rey Mysterio. Maybe we'll see some sort of legacy formation in a sense, not necessarily bringing the three of them back together, but Rhodes and DiBiase maybe working together to help Orton lose so they can start with that idea. Some ideas to think about anyway. Who knows what the WWE creative control has in mind, but my money's on CM Punk in that one in the end. And then, of course, JR teams up with Jerry the King Lawler against Michael Cole and Jack Swagger in a country whipping match. Michael Cole's been in charge this whole rivalry. Sir Michael Cole, whatever. JR and King, it's time for revenge. And I'm guessing in the end we'll probably see, since JR and Michael Cole are the lesser athletes of the four, we'll probably see them in the final decision, allowing, though, JR and Jerry the King Lawler the victory. I really don't see it otherwise. Extreme Rules shaping up to be a great show. The draft, interesting as always. Also, TNA fans out there, you may remember Awesome Kong. Karma is getting ready to step foot into the WWE Universe. Karma is a new name for Awesome Kong. Force to be reckoned with in the Divas division. Who knows what show she's going to, but it's going to be something. You like some of her matches from TNA because she can go out there and beat the crap out of you. You know, the bigger version of Chyna. Let's see what she has in store for the WWE. That's all I have for tonight. Once again, thanks for tuning in. I'm John. Have a good one.